Welcome to the Creative Business Community Podcast, where creativity meets business. I'm Erin Madeley, and each week we'll share stories, tips, and inspiration to help you grow your creative business. Let's dive in.
Hi, Ronnie.
Hi, Erin.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us again on the pod.
Yeah, we're back. I haven't recorded an episode in a little while, so I might be a bit rusty.
Nah, never. But this week we are talking about creative voice.
Yes.
So, Ronnie, what is creative voice? What are we talking about?
So creative voice is something I think that every small business struggles with, but they don't know that they struggle with because I don't think people really understand what creative voice is. And it's sort of both a feeling and not a feeling. It's like what I'm making that feels like me. It's in artistic circles, it's called the artistic style. And it's both visual but also vibes based. And it is just trying to find your style and your tone and the emotional effect that your work has on other people that comes from uniquely you. So it's sort of like your fingerprint, your
so like people can work
fingerprint.
Yeah, so like people look at your work and immediately kind of go, oh, that's from this person, right?
Yes, exactly. And it's something, it's your values that back up your business. It's the tone of voice that you use. It's the approach that you take in not only promoting your work, but also in creating your work. And it's everything that identifies your business as belonging to you.
So it's like your creative identity.
Exactly. It's like a passport.
Yeah.
Your creative passport.
And I feel like when people maybe start looking at this and exploring it, they might worry that once they develop their own unique creative voice, it has to stay the same. But be reassured, it does not. Like anything within running a business or being a creative or being a human at all, we all develop and change over time. And so your creative voice and your creative identity can also develop and change over time.
And it will develop and change over time because, like Erin said, we as people change and our skill changes. Both our skill in creating our product, but also our skill in promoting our product will change over time. And so your creative voice will change, but it won't change in a way that you're going to feel like it's running away from you in a way. So you're not going to get to a point you're like, I hate my product because it's no longer me. Your changes will happen sort of naturally as you change as a person.
Yeah.
And if you get to a point where you suddenly feel like I no longer like what I'm doing, then that is just your internal subconscious telling you that it's time to update your creative voice. So it's completely natural and it is something that will change, it will develop, but it will happen slowly. And also you have to keep in mind that getting a creative voice is not something that happens right away either, right?
No.
It is something that when you start making something, and anyone who has worked in the creative industry will know this, when you enter this creative industry, you will copy. Because that's
often how you learn.
Yeah, that's how you learn. You'll emulate those who you look up to. You'll copy the people you admire and you'll copy their style. And then over time, you'll find someone's style, visual and internal, that you like, and then you'll find someone else. And then those people will come together and they'll influence your style and it will become its own thing over time.
Yeah.
I know I'm pulling here from my scrapbooking history, but I know when I started scrapbooking, I adopted a visual style that was really based on one creator. And then over time, as I grew, I developed a visual style that's linked more to 2 or 3 different creators. But now I've been scrapbooking for 8 years now. So now I very often get people message me and comment on my social media posts saying, I can tell something is your project before I even see that you are the one that has posted it. I get that comment a lot.
It's really cool.
Because I've developed my own style. I've realized what I like, and a way that you can make sure that your creative voice is showing is by going through your old work, seeing what stands up, being very clear on your reason why. as well is important, and I will talk about that in a moment. But looking at old works and seeing what jumps out to you, why do you like particular elements, and really taking like sort of a passionate look at it. Like, you don't look at it as your work. Look at it
like in a clinical kind of way,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
So like you're trying to take the personal out of it, which it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it is hard, but it's also, I think, something that your gut will be able to tell you. You know which of your past pieces you will like more, which of your past, like if you're a hairdresser looking back at all the photos that you no doubt took, what stands out to you, and then that is how you kind of know that's a direction you want to go in.
Yeah.
And
for me, like with my pottery and stuff like that, yes, there's a lot of stuff that, when you're starting out, you do the same kind of shapes and things at the time, but over time you also start to learn what you really like and how you like to do things. And it's exactly that same thing of you do develop your own style. And now looking at my work, you go, well, why some of my old stuff, it's like glazed in a plain boring white, and you're like, well, that's definitely not my voice.
Yes.
That is just what I felt like,
and that's how you learned.
Yeah.
And you learn by mimic, and there is literally nothing wrong with this. Like, you eventually will diverge from copying someone, but also it's really important to say you should not claim someone else's work or their style as your own.
No.
So give them credit.
Yeah, say like, I made this thing based on this other person's work.
Yeah, I was inspired by their visual things. Like, we've actually had this where we have had store holders reach out to us privately and say, this was my apprentice, and they have now gone away and they're literally just copying exactly what I do and trying to sell that work as their own. And yes, they did maybe put the work into making that work, but the actual creativity behind it's no different to a machine doing it, because it is just copied. So give someone credit where credit is due, because eventually your style will become yours, and then you can take ownership of that.
Well, and not only that, but also like the creative industry, it's already hard enough to, put yourself out there and be like, this is this thing that I put so much time and effort into, and then to have somebody else essentially rip off what you're doing, it is the most heart-wrenching feeling and the most like horrible thing, and we're all trying to have a go at it. So don't try and rip off somebody else's work and sell it as your own.
Yeah.
And yes, we're talking about like when you're starting out, that is how we learn, but maybe don't sell that work. Or if you are going to be showcasing it, exactly like Rodney said, you give credit where credit is due, that you're like, I made this thing because I saw somebody else make it and I think they did a really amazing job and I wanted to have a go myself. And don't look at taking it to market. Or if you are wanting to take it to market, maybe reach out to the other creative and say, hey, I really love this thing that you do. Would it be okay?
Yes, I was so inspired by you. This is what I created based on is it okay if I sell this?
And then maybe take your own spin on it. Like, you know, there's this one woman who does these amazing vases with the Julia Gillard speech on them. And she's absolutely amazing and I absolutely love them. And then there is another person who does a similar sort of a thing with like bits of the Julia Gillard speech on either vases or mugs or whatever. And she experienced a lot of backlash from people being like, you're ripping off and stealing this other person's work. Well, the vases are a different shape. The speech is out in the public. It's not like necessarily stealing, and they also are both aware of each other, and they did a collaborative post to be like, hey, just like calm down, just you know. And the creative community genuinely tends to be full of really lovely people, so you know, find ways to collaborate together if you do have like stuff like this.
Over competition.
Yeah,
and like Erin said, if you are building a brand and you are copying someone else's style, you will be called out for that, and you will lose your credibility in a heartbeat. There's a very, very, I won't name it, but in like the play space arena, there's a very popular brand that in their own right makes really good products. They then copied exactly what another open-ended play-based brand were creating, and literally all of the shops that were stocking them have stopped stocking them in Australia. It has become a huge thing, and in a second they've lost credibility. Because they copied like one like small item. So it's going to affect you. But thank you for coming to my TED Talk about that. So we'll go back to the creative voice because, like we said, you can copy and mimic and as you learn, and then you will naturally develop your own style because you'll get different resources.
Yeah, so like just take these other ideas and, put your own spin on them.
Yes. So other practical ways that you can find your creative voice is follow your curiosity. And this is as simple as just scrolling through Instagram maybe or Facebook and just seeing what sparks joy and taking a little note of that. I know that within my community, which is like the scrapbook community, I really respect certain creators, but I need color. That's the kind of thing that really sparks joy. Like I need bright, I need rainbow, I need colors.
Says the woman who is currently dressed in all black.
I actually, when I walked in the office this morning, Renee's like, "Why are you wearing black?" I'm like, I actually don't know. But yeah, so I need color in my creativity. Yeah. So that is part of then my style. So that's how I have developed my style, is because I realized I want color. I've already talked about looking at your own body of work. Then the other thing I want to talk about is your reason why. Really, I think it's important to explore on a deeper level why you are doing what you are doing. And think about the story that you are trying to tell through your work, right? Because I think it's important for you to know, but that why will come through in your work and people will resonate with it even if you don't intend.
So for the people who might not be familiar with this idea of the why, can you explain what it is that you mean by finding your why?
So the why is a creative tool that sort of connects your creative work to something personal within you and like gives it more meaning. And
like the why is it that you're doing this?
Yeah, the reason why. Why am I doing this work? So another example, all my examples are from like scrapbooking, but one thing that I do, a project that I do every year is called December Daily. It's very big in the scrapbooking community. And every year, and it's sort of like a standard thing that now happens, every year, everyone that does this project, before they even start it, in their album, they write down my reason why for doing this album, because it can become a bit of a difficult thing to do, especially in December when it's busy. And so having the reason why you're doing it is really grounding. And when you're having a hard time and you're struggling through moments of uncertainty, going back to that reason why is really important. And it can be for whatever reason. You don't have to create for other people. Your reason why can be completely internal.
Which is, for me, that's 100% with my pottery. Everything to do with my pottery. The number of times people are like, are you selling? Have you set up an online shop? And I'm like, well, no, because for me, I need that to not be part of my reason why. My reason why with my pottery, it's very, very much internal growth and trying to find my own sense of equilibrium and balance and a bit of zen, because I'm not good at it. We're bad at it. And my reason why is it's all about my mental health. And then that does also inform some of the things I work with in terms of just making quirky, funny things that are going to spark a little bit of joy in somebody else. But I also want things to be practical and usable. So most of what I make is also practical and usable. But then going to my reason why with the business, and it is something I have to revisit, because in those moments where it's really hard and it's tough and you go, fuck, why am I doing this? Life's so hard. For example, last week I was threatened by somebody. Not going to go into it. It will all get dealt with and the person will get reported to the cops. But, I was threatened by somebody with violence. And I go, far out, why do I bother doing this? And I have to remind myself, I do this to provide a platform for others to get out there and actually be able to make a living with their passions and creative pursuits and small business. And connection. Why is connection and community and creativity. So reminding yourself of that, not only does it help with your creative voice and finding your work, but also it helps you go through those really tough times, and it helps you with the direction of your business.
Exactly.
You have to revisit that, otherwise you do find you get yourself going down the wrong path.
And
Yeah. Sorry, I do deviate slightly from the topic, but
I think also with creative businesses, I think it's different for, say, like skilled professionals necessarily. But I think with creative businesses, your reason why is almost never going to be to make money. Because there was always going to be some underlying creative pool. So whilst it might also be making money, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's a business, you should make money. But I think your reason why is deeper than that. The making money is a financial necessity, whereas the reason why is like, why is my soul drawn to this particular thing? And it can be more than one thing, but I think it's really important to consider, to journal about it, like write it down, have a think about it, and that can change. Your reason why doesn't have to stay the same.
No. And if you're not sure, talk to your friends and talk to fellow, people who you work with or inspire you, and say, I'm not sure, why is it, like, what is it within me that is driving me to do this thing? And like, often, like, your friends can identify that in you so easily. Like, if I was to go to Ronnie, I'm like, why am I doing this? And then she'd be like, Erin, remember? Because probably you've talked about it to somebody before, not even realizing that's necessarily what it is that you're doing. You're not necessarily aware that you're identifying your why, but through conversations with other people, your passion shines through, and they'll glom onto that and know like how to help you identify that and put it in writing if you want to.
And talking to friends and getting feedback is also a really good way to develop your creative style even more. Because not everyone's going to get your work. Not everyone is going to like what you do, and it's not your job to please everyone.
No,
but
it's not possible.
From the trusted few people, getting feedback about your style and about what you're doing, it can be a very valuable thing. But don't let other people influence how you work. But that's why I say be careful who you talk to. Don't just talk to anyone.
No.
But there's nothing wrong with getting feedback from friends and family and trusted people in your community.
Yeah. And I think it's something that we forget to do sometimes because it can feel like really overwhelming to get that feedback or to get that advice. But that's where, like, if you don't necessarily feel like you've got those people physically around you who can do that, that's where like online community can be really, really great, because it does have the ability for you to post anonymously. It does have the ability for you to reach a wider group of people, or a really specific niche of people, or like, troubleshoot problems that you're having, especially because I do feel like sometimes when people are starting a small business, particularly in a creative field, you can sometimes feel like you don't have family members who support you, because they go, well, it's just like a little side hustle, or they kind of put down what it is that you're trying to do and achieve, or they don't get it in the same way that other people in the same kind of spheres do. So if you don't have those people, that's where like online community can be really, really great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And sometimes I think also with developing your creative voice, it's a really great idea to experiment with mediums that are outside of the normal range of stuff that you do. So a really great example for this with me is, remember when we went and did that painting workshop?
The bird painting,
Yeah, it was like, exactly what I was talking about. I don't paint normally, and I don't draw very well, and I feel like it's really, really hard for me. And at the end, we went to this workshop where it was like you were given a template and they talked through how to mix colors, and you were painting a galah on a branch. And at the end of the workshop, I really didn't like my painting, and I nearly didn't take it home. I was like, and Ronnie went, no, you've actually done a really great job.
It looks amazing. I don't know why, but I do understand that. Because I was sort of like just lost, because I paint a lot, I draw a lot, so it wasn't something that I was like really struggling with, but I have had that like with pottery. Like another thing that Erin and I did together, like I was just like, this pottery, I was like, I hate this,
and I was like, yes, mud forever.
So it's just like, but we went then, we did that.
Right? And it was funny, I did take the painting home, and I did end up not looking at it for a few weeks, and then I looked at it again and was like, actually, I don't hate this. It's actually nice, and I actually did end up hanging it up on my wall, but
it's beautiful.
It did help me identify like things within myself that I did really resonate with and things that I didn't resonate with. And that all kind of helps inform other work that you do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, you were able to know what you liked about the process and what you didn't. And looking back, you can see...
And learning a bit about colour theory that I wouldn't have thought about when I'm like applying it to ceramics, because the way that I work with colour is different. It's not the same.
Yeah.
And form and function is different when you're looking at like a 3D object versus a 2D object. And, you know, and the way that you assemble things and you have things fit together, and, you know, it's just, it makes you step out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And
definitely
puts you in a different headspace.
Yes. And playing with something new also frees up your creativity a little bit, because like if you make something without the pressure, something's going to come through that you might not know was going to happen, and then you might have a whole new thing. Like it might spark something really deep in you. And yeah, like color theory is a big thing. Like if you start doing a painting, if you are used to like a certain amount, like using a certain type of color, or you are very, like I'm very familiar with using colors like blues, pinks and purples, and I know exactly how they're going to interact with each other, and I use that basically in all my crafting and all of my art. But doing this painting, we used like more neutral toned down colors, and then it was so much easier for the colors to get muddied if you weren't aware of like certain color theory, and I found that really interesting. And so
you know, and also like if you combine certain colors together, you're going to get this other result, and if you have them next to each other and laid in a certain way, you're going to see something different. And but then you can also, you know, if you're maybe not wanting to go and experiment within a different medium, like you can allow yourself that play experience within the medium you already operate within. But it's about taking that pressure off of having a finished object at the end of things. Just let it be play, let it be fun. It's about exploring or trying new ideas, and all of this helps you find what really resonates with you, which all helps inform that creative voice that we're talking about.
Yes. So, what if you lose your creative voice? We touched on this before, but I think we can elaborate on it a little bit more. So, sometimes you might feel that you have lost your creative voice and that what you are creating isn't really what you wanted to create. And this is actually an artistic phenomenon that has a name, but I don't know the name.
I would refer to it as writer's block.
Well,
right?
yes, but
it's like a writer's block.
It's sort of like as your skill develops, your skill won't develop in a linear fashion. It'll develop in ebbs and flows and in waves. And then as your skill develops, you might find that the work you are doing isn't yet caught up to what you are capable of doing. And then suddenly you might look at the work that you were doing, and that's exactly the same as work you were doing before, and you won't like it. But then what will naturally happen is that your hands will catch up to your brain, and you will continue working, and then you will start loving what you're creating again because your hands are catching up to what you're capable of. And interwoven through all of this is your creative voice, because that is what's going to inform what you want to create versus what you should be creating based on like what you'd wanted to do in the past. So like,
I think it also, you know, it can talk about like this in terms of like different releases. Like you've got a release of one kind of work, and then when you go to do your next release, you're like, I don't want to release the same kind of work. It's a different kind of work you want to release, right? And you don't necessarily know what the new work is going to be. You're like, I just know it needs to be something different. So I feel like, you know, yes, you can definitely continue just making what you were before or creating what you were creating before, but part of that, you know, refinding that creative voice and that creative identity, sometimes taking a break and stepping away is the first part of that process to re-identifying what it is that you're wanting to express through your work.
Yes. Take a break. Have a breather. Do some yoga.
Go touch grass.
Yeah,
Go touch grass. Unless you're allergic, and then, you know.
Touch fake grass.
Yeah. But like, I think, you know, for a lot of people, it's so easy with how busy we all are now. You get trapped into like your normal day-to-day routine of I get up and I, you know, eat breakfast and kick the kids out of the house to go to school, and then I'm going and I'm working in the studio, and then I've got to sit down and do admin, and then all of a sudden you're picking the kids up at your home and you're running the kids around, and then they're in bed and you haven't actually been outdoors all day. And it's such a common thing that you don't get outside and breathe fresh air and disconnect from whatever it is that you're doing, whether it happens to be writing or recording a podcast or remixing audio for a soundtrack or painting or whatever it is. But by going outside and disconnecting and don't take a device, or if you do take a device, don't get it out, but just really tap into your senses and try and be present in the moment.
Yeah. Do you know what my new favourite trend is?
No.
The analogue bag.
Oh, you've been talking to me about this,
know.
and I'm like, okay, but what is this analog?
So it's basically the self-care basket rebranded by younger people who are much cooler than me. But they call it an analog bag, where it's like a bag that's filled with screen-free activities, analog activities, that you can do to step away from something that is stressing you out. So in most people's instances, it's the screen and the doom scrolling that will be stressing them out. But for a creative person, it might be doing your work and being stuck in that mental rumination cycle can be very stressful. And so having a bag where you can just grab, and this can have a book in it that you can just go sit outside and read in the sun, or it can have a crossword, it can have a puzzle, it can have
a
colouring book, paint by numbers, literally anything. Journaling is a big one as well. So it's just a bag that you can grab. Now, when I was young and cool, it was a self-care basket, taking time for yourself. But now I actually think the rebranding is great on it.
Yeah.
So I do that.
You're here for the rebrand.
Yeah, I'm here for the rebrand. Now, I do like it, especially because I think there's few things that can kill our creative voice as quickly as creating for the algorithm. So creating, and anyone that has a social media sees their posts, see how their posts perform and how their products sell based on social media. And if you start creating because it's a product that you sell, but your heart is not in it, that is going to kill you. That's going to kill
your soul.
It kills your soul. Especially as a creative soul, doing work for other people, especially creative work that was meant to be yours. It's like something has been stolen away from you. And so that's another good reason to just step away from the phone. Don't think about your engagement. Don't think about what is going to sell the best. And there is an element of you needing to think about that, obviously.
So what we're talking about here is not saying don't ever think about it, but there's a time there's a time and a place for it. And so this is we've obviously talked about the importance of looking at all these things and in past podcast episodes and the importance of having a social media presence and scheduling things and all of that sort of thing. But when it is time to tap into that creative aspect and try and refine your creative voice, it's no longer about pleasing the customer. It's no longer about what is currently selling. It is no longer about what is currently trending. It is about nourishing your soul and coming back to that. Why is it that I decided I wanted to take my creativity and turn it into a small business? Why is it that this is my passion? Why is it that I am creating? What is it within me that it is fulfilling?
Absolutely.
And you, in order to tap into that element of things, you have to disconnect from all of those external factors.
Yes.
It's because that creative voice, it's not about the external, it's about the internal.
And if your creative voice dies, people will very quickly realize that. And because you will lose that spark that is being translated to your audience in a way that you don't even intend to. There's something that is sort of metaphysical almost about it, that they will see something in your work or experience something in your work that will just be gone. So it actually will have the reverse effect. If you just push for the algorithm and you push to try to make this product because people say buy. There's nothing wrong with creating that product, but also you need to feed your soul. So, quick recap.
Yes.
I think we've
covered a lot of different things.
We've covered a lot, but so your creative voice is your story told your way through your work. It's personal. It's your fingerprint.
It's the identity of your creativity, really.
Yes.
It's your creative fingerprint, like you've said. It's really about people being able to see your work and immediately have that gut feeling of, oh, this is from this person, right?
Yeah.
And knowing that, there's that pull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to really grab the bull by the balls. Is that the phrase?
Bull by the horns. Okay, I know where your head's at today.
No, but that's...
No. Grabbing the bull by the horns. Not... I mean... Look, no shame, like, if that's what you're into, but...
I've never been close to a bull to be able to grab its horns or its balls, so I apologise for that.
No.
Sorry,
but yeah, grab the bull by the horns.
You get what I mean. Embrace your quirks. Keep evolving.
Make sure your work is you and not just a copy of somebody else's.
Yeah.
It really needs to be about you.
And with that, your creative voice will grow with you.
Yes.
So, what's our creative business spotlight?
Yes,
today,
so we've come to the end of the episode. It's time for Creative Business Spotlight.
Yeah,
so who are we shouting out this week, Ronnie?
Master and Dame.
So who are Master and Dame and what is it that they do?
They are a creative business and it is actually really cool. They make wool products, but they don't dye their wool. They just use coloured sheep. So it's
sheep are not all white.
Yeah, so it's really cool and the kind of like natural fibre, like the textures.
It's a natural fibre.
Oh, it's just so beautiful. Like you look at it is like looking at their products and seeing a cozy hug. And you just want to touch it.
Yes. And not only that, they're a really high quality. So they're a local WA business. They grow the wool. And then they actually, they send it away to get processed and then it comes back. And they actually then spin it and weave it and everything like that themselves as a brand, which is really, really cool. And I'm really excited to see more of them.
Yeah, because they're pretty new.
Yeah, they haven't been around. Well, okay, I shouldn't say that they haven't been around. They've kind of only recently come across our radar, but I think it's really just tapping into those old school skills, and also, I guess, having control of the process from start to finish. So, like, the wool is from their sheep, and then they are in control of the final product. Unlike a lot of other wool products, where like it's one person who is growing the wool.
Growing the wool.
I don't know how to describe that. Raising the sheep and shearing the sheep. And then it's another person who is processing the wool. And then it's another person who's dyeing it. And then there's another person who spins it. And then there's another person who weaves it. And then, so, instead of it being that process where it's going through like a bunch of different hands, it all is kind of controlled by this one business. And I just think it's really,
so cool.
It's really cool. So Master and Dame, go and check them out.
Everything will be in the show notes below.
It will. So thank you all for listening in. We hope you found this valuable, and we'll catch you all next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Creative Business Community Podcast. We hope today's conversation inspired you and gave you ideas to grow your own creative business. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow or subscribe so you never miss out on the next one. You can also connect with our community on Facebook, Instagram, and via our website. Just search Creative Business Community. Until next time, keep creating, keep learning, and keep building the business you love.